Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do. Just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
It's really true. Is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound. Safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found. Change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at last.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show. Guys, everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass, guys, because 32 years ago, I was a dumbass. But through the grace of God, 32 years later, I can honestly say now I'm a smartass. And yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times, and it means donkey, and that's what I was. Guys, I'm saying this to say I'm saying that to say this. We've all had a rough few years, right, all over the world, not just here. And I want everyone out there to know that someone is always listening. Okay? Unfortunately, a lot of people didn't make it, and especially through addiction, including a family member of mine. So my services to you are free. I'm a recovery coach. I'm a nutritional health coach. Please, please, please reach out. I want everyone to understand that just talking about things can help you tremendously, okay? And guys, if you think my book can help someone, because I sure do, you can go right to Simon & Schuster's bookstore called Archway Publishing. It's on Amazon, it's on Barnes & Noble, bam, it's everywhere. I just want to help people, okay? And if anyone is listening and you truly, truly, truly cannot afford my book, please reach out to me about that as well. So guys, I have a returning guest. This young man owns a piece of my heart. Let me introduce, first of all, Ricardo Richard.
Yes. Hello, everybody.
And he brought along this young man.
Christopher Ash.
Indeed. Hello.
And they are here representing the documentary that we've been talking about for years called Hurt People, Bitter and Broken. Tell everyone everything about it.
Oh, my goodness. First of all, I just want to say is thank you so much for being here. And it just feels like home every time I see you. So thank you so much. Yes, we have a new series, actually, the Hurt People, Bitter and Broken, the movie. So it's like basically, I don't know if I can hear it, but it's a 3-part movie. So this next season is a movie, and I'm really, really excited about it. And we're actually having a premiere on May the 12th at an disclosed location, so people will get the chance to preview the movie. This is my first movie, so I'm really, really excited about the movie, and it's the final of the Hurt People. You know, I've been working on this for a couple of years, and anybody that know me, that this series, it all came about from losing my best friend, Yak. And I hope that he's proud of me, but most importantly, I hope God is proud of me. And I'm excited about this movie, my first movie. And I just can't wait for people to see it and heal, you know. So I'm ecstatic. So I also want to let everybody know, if you want to check out the first 2 seasons, you can check it out. You can support my project, Hurt People, Bitter and Broken, by going on, I'm going to spell it out because I don't want to mess up the name, CINEKAN.net. Yeah, okay, you can rent the series and watch it, you know, if you want to support it to help, you know, fund with different projects. And also, it's on the CTF TV network, and it's also on YouTube, Bitter and Broken web series. So please be on the lookout for the 3rd and final season. I need everybody to show up and watch this last season, please. I'm just excited. Yeah.
Chris, would you like to say anything, sweetheart? Tell everyone what role you have.
I played Tristan. It's when you see it, I'm not gonna look like this. It was a little minute ago, but I played the youngest of the Brown brothers, which is a story of. It originally started with two, and I came along later. We are homeless siblings, trying to make a living, trying our hardest, really, just not knowing where we're gonna sleep, not knowing what we're gonna eat, etc., and things like that. And I'm trying not to say too much. But yeah, that's what I play. That's what I did.
So, okay, so I have a question for you. So how old are you?
I'm 15.
Okay. And how old are you? Tell everybody.
I'm 35, everybody.
Okay, so
And I wanted to show everybody my T-shirt.
stand up.
Please,
I
can
love
show
this
my
T-shirt.
So my T-shirt, it says, I don't match energy, I lead with love. So I just wanted to show everybody my T-shirt.
Isn't that beautiful? I love it.
Everybody my T-shirt, yes.
I love it.
So let's lead with love, everybody.
Love it. So what year did you start this project?
I started, well, my best friend died in 2015.
Okay.
May 30th, 2015. I actually was trying to have the movie, actually on his anniversary of his death date, but it didn't work out like that. So I said, I'm just gonna have to do May 12th, and then, when I go there, I'll talk about him. So a couple of months after that, I think I started writing a little bit, and then maybe about 2016, and then we started filming 2017. So this has been in the process since 2000, I would say 15. The idea, then I started writing in 2016. So it's been a couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, how many episodes have you been in?
Episodes. I'm in most of the episodes in the season. Well, the movie
Okay.
that got turned. Well, it was episodes and it got turned into a movie.
Okay.
But you're gonna see me a lot in that. In the second season, I'm really iffy, not really there. But I come to fruition in the movie.
Yeah. Season 2, I would say, is 7 episodes, so he's in like 5 out of the 7.
Yeah.
And then in the new one, he's the star of the whole series. Like, he carried the show on his back. Yeah. He did. He led the whole show. So you'll see the beginning, you watch it, it's him, and the end is him. So he literally, it's really, I couldn't did the last season, the movie, I would say, movie/miniseries. I couldn't have did it without him because he did such an amazing job, and I don't know, it was just a blessing to work with him, and I love it, and I always keep telling him I just want him to keep going because I think he's an amazing actor and musician too. He like to do music.
Indeed.
So now, I've met a lot of your actors and actresses, and I think everybody's incredible.
Oh.
So I think everybody needs some encouragement anymore, right? More than usual. We love to encourage people, but more than usual. So when you first started this, because I remember, when you and I first met, and I was like, this is incredible. When you first started this, and I said to you, I want you to do something. You're going to one day do this. Healed people heal people.
Yes.
You've got to do it.
Yes.
We need some encouragement. And I want you to talk a little bit about, I know it's because your best friend passed away, and that's so beautiful. But what else motivated you as you were writing?
I think what motivated me was that I wanted to get to a better version of myself. And I wanted to heal, even though at the time of me writing, even though it was therapeutic, it was still some things that I had to work on. I wanted to be a vessel unto God. And I just felt like growing up in inner city, sometimes we lack a lot of resources and a lot of opportunities. And I've always wanted to act. I didn't necessarily know that I was a storyteller. I found that out while I was going to college, but it's like one gift led to the next gift and the next gift, and it led to the next opportunity, which led to the next opportunity. So all of the things were connected. So just my desire to act and not lacking the resources and not having the money and not knowing where to go, and my best friend dying, it just enabled me to just start writing, and I just kept pushing, and like I always say, everything was right there in front of me. I just had to step into who God was calling me to be, which was very scary because I feel like change is very, very scary. But also being the same is scary, you know, like doing the same things over and over. So I just been telling myself lately I'm a generational curse breaker, and that's what I stand by, and that's what I want to continue to be.
Generational curse breaker. I love that.
Yeah.
And you are.
Thank you.
And so tell everyone about your daytime job.
So my daytime job, I just got promoted as the lead teacher. So before I was being a co-teacher, and now I have my own classroom. A lot of people don't know that. I haven't shared that on social media, but I'm a teacher now. It's challenging. I'm not gonna lie. I had days where I'm like, God, I ain't doing this, you know, where I wanted to quit. But I feel like something in me. It's the scripture in the Bible, Job, and it says, "Though he slay me, yet I would trust in him." And that scripture really blessed me when I was going through a lot of trials and tribulations. And when I couldn't see straight, and when I wasn't being led by faith, I was being led by fear. That scripture really helped me. And yeah, that I love it. And I love Job, the story of Job. He went through a lot of stuff. And then, but at the end of the story, God says that his greater days, his latter days will be better. So I believe my latter days will be better.
So, young man, how do you feel about the movie? What does it mean to you?
It's my first time being a part of any creative process, like web series, movie, music, any of that. Very challenging. You know, we was filming outside in the cold, and I was like 12 years old. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. Looking back on it, it's helped me build a lot of bonds, helped me get closer to a lot of people. And it was all family, which I love about it. You know what I'm saying? It was a family project. Most of the people that you see in there, if not all of the people that you see in there, is our family. So it was a very comfortable environment to be in, to work in. Yeah, it means a lot. It means a whole lot.
That's absolutely beautiful. So, Ricardo, what can you tell us a little bit about, without really giving everything away, a little bit more about the movie?
So the movie is a 3-part movie / miniseries, and what I could tell you is basically, if anybody watched the first 2 seasons, so now is the Brown brothers. It's 3 brothers, and you guys know the story if anybody watched it. The 3 Brown brothers, they're faced with living in the inner city, and the mother has left them, so now they have to figure out like how to survive in this big world. So basically the 2 other brothers, one was murdered by police, and then the other brother was murdered also. They were both murdered in the same alleyway, but at different times. So now the one brother actually got away. It's so similar because when I looked at it, I'm like, this is kind of like a little bit like Set It Off a little bit. Yeah. So his character was able to get away like before everybody died. He was actually, and that's what's so powerful, was he's the little brother, but he actually in so many ways was the big brother, because he was actually trying to tell them that even though that you can't see it, it gets greater later. You get what I mean? Like, even though we growing up in the inner city, we growing up in the hood, like it's something inside of this little boy was telling him, it's something more, even though we can't see it, even though we're kids, it's something better. So the little brother decided, like, listen, I can't live like this no more. Like, I gotta go. So you want to talk about that part, and then I'll add on too? Like when you decided, the character, you decided to leave.
Okay, so let me see if I still got it. We were like on the train tracks, right? For that scene. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were on the train tracks, and it was kind of like a little disagreement, because like they kind of used to push my opinion to the side because I was the little brother, and they was the ones out there taking the risk and getting the food for us and all of the stuff that we needed to survive out there. So it was kind of just like I was supposed to appreciate it instead of seeing like there's more, like we could be doing so much better, we could get so much better, but we settling for what's here. So,
and I love the part that you did when you was like, I don't want to be a statistic. You
Yeah.
know, like I don't want to be like everybody else, no matter what it looks like. I know that it's better, so I love that part. Like, and I making sure that was in season 3 too. Like, I don't want to be a statistic. Like, I know it's better, so I really love that part. And then after, so basically, the brothers get killed, and he's living his life now with his dad. He has no idea that his brothers are killed.
Until I get back.
You get what I mean? Until like months later, he finds it on Facebook that his 2 brothers was murdered. So now that's when he's on the search. Like, now he wants to know what happened to my brothers. He start having guilt, you know, shame. Maybe if I would have never left, that didn't happen. But at the end of the day, like his character, and sometimes I was saying this on social media, sometimes God would give people in our lives, like he would give us certain people that we might only get once in a lifetime. And when those people show up in our lives, we don't want to fumble those people, because you never know why God got that person in your life for that season. So don't fumble people. So he literally was trying to save his brothers, not knowing that they could have preserved their life if they would have listened. But they didn't want to listen to him because he was the little brother. And that also ultimately led to their demise, but it preserved his life. So now he's trying to figure out, like, I need to know what's going on. But now he's putting himself in a situation where he could lose his life because of history and because of loyalty to his brothers, even though his brothers made a decision to follow the street life. You know, so that's kind of where season 3 kind of pick up. Like, now he's allowed his circumstances to become who he is. He's allowed the anger and his brothers being murdered to change his heart posture. So now he's just not this good, nice kid anymore. Now he wants to be the very thing that killed his brothers, a murderer.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm speechless right now.
Yeah, it gets crazy in season 3. It definitely gets a little more edgier.
And my character at the time was only like 12, 13.
And I would say that's a lot too. Like, as a teacher, you never know what these kids is going through. So can you imagine kids 10, 11, and 12 years old sleeping in abandoned houses, living on the streets, and every day they got to get up and go to school and act like nothing has happened. Like, so even being an educator, I can only imagine what my kids are going through. You get what I mean? Coming to school every day, where they got to sleep at, where they eating at, you know, is mom not there or is dad not there? They staying with grandma one day, or they staying with, you know, grandpa one day. Like, you just never know. So I just really wanted to humanize these characters and tell the struggles in the inner city as well.
Wow. So when you're writing, okay, where do you, all right, I mean, I don't really know all the details about your life, but I know a lot. Like, where do you get all this information from? It's not really something you led, right?
I think that it's just amazing.
Experience,
I think I sound crazy, but I just think it just comes from above, because I just sit there and I just be like writing down certain stuff that I want to do and stuff like that, and I just feel like they just come out of nowhere. You get what I mean? Like, the ideas and some stuff, I would say, when I'm able to look back, I'm like, wait, that happened in my family, some stuff. And then some stuff is just like, just stuff that I created in my mind. You get what I mean? But I feel like I can't fully get the credit. I feel like it's just a gift from God, being a storyteller, because it's just so much bigger, like, than me. So some experiences, I would say, people I know, and then some stuff is just things that I created. Like, I believe there's a Brown brothers out there. I believe there's kids out there living on the streets and trying to figure out what they're going to eat, and, you know, and just trying to make it. And thank God, like, even with him, like, it's unfortunate. Now he has to live with that trauma. Like, my brother's is gone. He doesn't know where his mother is. And that's a lot for a 12-year-old kid. Like, my brother's gone. And then I was talking about this too, like, when do this child get a chance to heal? Because it's just like, I got this weight, you know, on my back that I feel guilty for surviving. I feel guilty for living, when that's everybody's obligation to live despite our circumstances or our challenges. So I think his character is just amazing, like, you know, and I can't wait for people to see it. Yeah.
So I just have to ask this question, and I don't want you to really ruin everything, but So he lived with his father. So his father, the other two boys could have also lived with their father?
Well, the other two didn't. They didn't know who their father were.
Oh,
So it's three different
Gotcha.
dads, and his father was the one of the fathers that was there. But because of his love, and I feel like I would say a hole in his heart, he always wanted to be with his mom, and he always wanted to be with his brothers. And it's a scene where the two brothers get into it, and one brother sees it one way, he sees it another way. He's just, the other brother's like, you had it better than us, you ain't have to get dragged in the streets. And he's like, even though I had all this, you know, my dad was busy, and even though my dad did this, I felt alone because my dad worked all the time. And even though I had this, but I didn't have you guys, so I would live in a box before I live in a mansion without you guys. And that's when they embrace with a hug, and it was like healing, because people need to hug, especially little black boys and little brown boys and Spanish boys and white boys. Like, we all need to hug each other and love on each other, and there's nothing feminine about loving on each other. You get what I mean? So I feel like sometimes we're taught in the inner city to be so tough and not to show emotion, and you know, if you cried and you're a punk, and no, that's why these kids grow up and they're so angry, because
It's not just inner city, Italian boys.
Yeah.
Same thing. Okay? Crazy.
Yeah. So you gotta talk, and you know, now these kids, they grow up and then they're angry inside. They feel like they want to snap, and that's why so many people, they're getting high, they're getting drunk, because you know, they never had a voice and they don't even know where to start. So
is this movie out yet?
the movie's not out. We have a private screening May the 12th,
Okay.
and then probably the summertime it'll drop. It'll be a 3-part movie, and I love it. Like, I just the other day I was like, I can't believe I got a movie. Like, it's my first movie. I'm so excited. Like, and I was telling my grandma, I was so in awe. Like, when I went to the place and I saw the stage and I saw, you know, the seats, 250 seats, and the woman's like, you like it? And I was like, you don't even understand, like, and I didn't say all of it like I wanted to, but I'm like, where I come from, this stuff doesn't happen. You get what I mean? Like, for me to be able, I was telling him, I said, growing up in the hood is like living in a jungle, because so many people don't make it out of the jungle. So many people fall prey to teenage pregnancy, or fall prey to being addicted to the pills and ODing or getting drunk, and so many people they're not able to get over to the other side. And I think about this in the Bible. You see the promised land, and then you see Egypt. But when you think about it, a lot of those people didn't really want to leave Egypt, because even though they were being basically abused and enslaved, guess what? They still have food and water. So God telling you, guess what? You got to get to the promised land, but you'd rather stay in Egypt because at least we get to eat, at least we have food, at least we have water. So it's just like, I feel like where I'm at now is like, I'm trying to get to the promised land. Like, I'm in the jungle and I'm trying to get to the promises that God has for me, but it's not going to be easy. And God, the devil, is going to make sure that he puts everything in my way. You know, recently my stepmom died. She raised me.
Right.
My
so
stepmom
sorry.
died. My brother was murdered. You get what I'm saying? My grandma, my best friend, died. And my grandfather died, all in almost a year proximity of each other. But God, that's all I can say. But God, sometimes I'm like, God, this is too much. But God. So I realized that the enemy God allowed these things to happen, but my perspective is what, and my faith in God is what allowed me to continue to move forward towards the place of milk and honey, which is the promised land. So if I could have allowed all those situations to happen to me and say, God, you took my brother, you let him die in the streets, you took my stepmom, the mother that raised me, you took my grandma, my best friend, and allowed those situations to paralyze me and say, God, I'm done with you, you keep hurting me. But I said, you know what, God, though you slay me, yet I would trust in you. And to be honest, when you go through those situations, sometimes you do feel weary. Sometimes you do feel like you want to give up. But for me, my faith and what, you know, it's just not an option. I'm going to live for God, serve God, even to the death for me. Because I know what it's like to live with God, live to be lukewarm with God, play with God, be in the streets, playing, drinking, being with God knows who. And it's just like, now I'm on the other side, and I'm just like, God, whatever you want me to do. It doesn't mean sometimes I ain't gonna be kicking and screaming. You get what I mean? But I'm gonna do whatever it is that you want me to do, because I realize I got this amount of time, much time on earth, and I just want people watching this series, to know that it's possible, that no matter what you go through, that it can get better. Like, everything is a decision. And I also feel like my faith is what kept me, my relationship with Jesus Christ. So whenever I do radio shows, I always try to let everybody know that Jesus Christ is it. He's
Jesus
it.
Christ
He's the bomb.
is it.
He's the way, the only way. And I wouldn't, if it wasn't for him, I know that I wouldn't be here, because there's been so many times personally where I could have lost my life. And I have the scars to prove it all over my body. And but God, he spared me. And sometimes I'll be like, well, why, God? Why I'm not nowhere dead in the streets? Why I ain't nowhere where I've made stupid decisions and, wind up drinking and driving? Why I ain't got a DUI? Or why I ain't wind up killing myself, from just driving drunk? But God, it's nothing but the grace of God. So I'm just grateful. And anybody that know me, they know how much I love God. And I'm always going to tell people that Jesus is the only way, and to get right with him, turn away from sin, and to live for God, because he's coming back.
I want to read, I'm going to be reading a poem later.
Yes.
But now I just want to read a few things from my Jesus poem.
Okay.
I have to, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed to proclaim his name. I'm not ashamed. It's God I claim. The world stirs hate, but God stirs love. The world's lost faith. It's found up above. The world says God's a myth. The world says God is fake. God says I'm really here. God says I'm no mistake. The lost are broken. The broken are lost, condemning your soul, not sparing the cost. God says, listen, I'm here for you. Just come to me and I'll make you new. When Jesus said it is finished, they took him off that cross. He rose from the dead so your soul wasn't lost. He no longer dangles on the cross from that day. He's free from that cross. Jesus now made the way. Come as you are and don't pretend. He knows all things beginning to end. I cried out one night, whoever's out there, please show me the truth. Does anyone care? That was you as well. That was you as well. Okay, we prayed together. Okay?
You did.
It was then that I heard him as clear as can be. I'm here and I care. I made you for me. You are not alone. I will lead the way. I'll never leave you. Your price I did pay. It was then that I marked you and said you were mine. I knew at that moment you were made to shine. I'll never put rules on the way you should live. I gave you free will from my life I did give. Father God, I do thank you for sending your son to shed his blood for me. Then he said it was done. He said it is finished. Now listen to me. He never said religion would now set you free. Ask him to take over, because you are way too weak. I promise strength he'll give you if only Jesus you seek. My prayer is this, that you take heed to know the reason Jesus did bleed. The time is near, it really is. Will you be ready to say you're his?
I love it.
So I had to. You were giving
Yes.
me chills.
Yes. Thank you so much. I want to say that before we go to the next thing. Like I said, I never ever take this for granted. Being able to do this, I'm blessed. Like, I'm so blessed. So thank you.
So, okay, you are blessed.
I am.
Okay, but here's the thing. God knew you would listen. God knew that you were going to do what he made you to do. Okay? Ricardo, having you on my show talking about all this is so vital to people who do live in inner cities. Okay? This is Hamilton Radio, guys. We're 10 minutes from Trenton. So we know they can't relate to me with a lot of things, but they can certainly relate to you. So if anyone can touch lives, you guys can.
Wow.
Right? You can save lives today.
Yeah.
Everything you're sharing and about your movie.
Yeah.
And yes, God had his hand in this big time, but you listened. You obeyed. And look what you've done for so many people. Right?
Yeah. Wow. Chris, you want to say anything?
I don't know what to say.
But Chris, let me say something to you too, young man.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're young, okay? And look at the impact you're having on young people, okay? Say you have 6, 12, 13, 14-year-olds. They're more likely to listen to you than to listen to Ricardo. So everyone has a place where God has put them. But it's up to each other. It's up to us to say, okay, God, I want you to use me and I'm going to listen. And that's what you're doing. For someone so young, Ricardo, look at this young man, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what you're doing is unbelievable because young people can look at you and say, there's hope. Right?
Wow.
That's what it's
Definitely.
about, kiddo. That is what it's about.
For real.
You know?
Yes.
If you have 3 young 14-year-old, African-American kids, I'll hug them, but they're not going to listen to me like they can listen to you. Okay? Even if they were white and they're little, they're not going to really listen to me. They'll listen to you before they listen to me. Okay? They can relate to you. So we all have a place.
Yeah.
But it's up to us to say, God, use me and I will listen. And you guys are doing that.
Wow. Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So, Chris, all right,
Definitely.
let me ask you something, Chris. Because you're so, you are, to me, you're so young, okay? What motivates you? And what motivates you to want to do this and to be part of this? And can you relate to any of these circumstances? I hope not, but do you relate to some of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I feel like Tristan at the time basically was me. Like, it was down to the T. Dad there, mom not. Of course, I wasn't like worrying about where I had to sleep and whatnot, but just like the parenting situation was very similar, and just like who I was as a person, like it was very easy to play the character, because it just came natural. But like the motivation, like what motivates me to do what I do, is being here, not necessarily here, but being in Trenton and waking up and having to see Trenton every day. It's not what I wanna do forever. I wanna like, when I have a family and my kids are growing up, the way that going out of country would be a trip for me, I want the United States to be a trip for them. Like, I want this to be foreign to them. All of this that we are so accustomed to,
Wow. I cannot believe this young man even spoke these words just now. So, God bless you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
You
nice.
too.
And you're going to make an incredible father. He is. And you, of course. Right? You, of course. I mean, wow.
Wow. That's amazing, Chris.
All right. So now I'm going to read the poem I set out to. This poem is important because it's called Utilizing Gifts and Talents. And it's everything that I've done with my talents that God gave me. It's everything that you guys have done. And we have to make everyone understand that they all have some gift.
Yeah, everybody.
It's up to them to utilize it, right?
Yes, everybody.
So I'm going to read this poem. Guys, really listen to these words. We are born with talents. We are born with drive, with different gifts to help us thrive. I knew early on I was born to draw and paint, to also write poetry and to talk without restraint. Our gifts and talents should all be used. God's gift to us not be abused. We can go far in life for sure using our gifts to go on tour. All our talents should be used to create ourselves and more, but then our job's to share them, to even up the score. You see, in life, what's needed is not just for ourselves. Once our gifts are mastered, take them off the shelves. A living we can make by spreading them around, not just for the money, to spread a peaceful sound. Don't take for granted the gifts you're given. Go out and spread the joy. Our gifts are not to be held back for us to self-destroy.
Love that.
Put your efforts forth. Do not hesitate. All your talents, my friend, are never second rate. Never hold them back or you will surely die. Maybe not in body, but your soul will cry. Our gifts were made to share. Our talents made to soar. Go through life enlightened and then you can roar. Be proud of who you are. Be happy you're alive. Once again, my friend, your gifts will help you thrive. By putting efforts forth, not keeping them at bay, guys, your name's going to live forever, forever and a day.
Wow.
Go through life excited for what you sure can give to yourself and others is our reason to live. Our grave will be quite lonely, but our legacy lives on. Make sure people smile with the breaking dawn.
Wow.
And that's what you guys are doing.
Oh, beautiful,
That's what you guys
beautiful,
are doing,
beautiful.
okay?
Sure.
Yes. Wow.
You're giving hope to so many people that can relate to you.
Wow.
I don't even be thinking about it like that.
You need to, because I'm going to say this again, okay? First of all, my daughter-in-law is black. My granddaughter's half black. So I can say this, okay? You know, if you had a 60-year-old white guy writing these series, people will be like, he don't even know, how does he even know how to relate to this, right? Think about that. So God has used you guys for so much good right now to relate to the people that need it most. And they need to hear it from you guys. So somebody's listening today, I know it, that thought, there's no hope for me.
Yeah. I want to say this because it really touched me when I was going through. And it's so important for me to be transparent with y'all because at the end of the day, every day is not sun and flowers and roses. And some days it's hard and some days you want to give up. I remember when the situation happened recently with this job and I'm like, God, I'm done. I'm not doing this. It's just too much. And I remember being like, God, what do you want? Like, what do you want me to do? And I was sitting there, and I think a friend, is it Andrea?
Oh, probably.
Yes, I love her.
I love her.
So shout out to Andrea. That's my sister in Christ. She's tagged me in something. And I remember sitting there, and I was watching it. And in the video, it was a team, a football team. And that's when I kind of had the moment once again where I feel like God was igniting in me and letting me know, like, not only I don't want you to quit doing this teaching thing, but that I also need you to continue to do the cinema, you know? So in the video, basically it was a football team of guys. And the coach was talking to the young guy, and the guy was kind of discouraged or whatever. And he was just basically saying, like, we're not going to beat that team or whatever. And then he told the guy, he said, listen, I need you to get up. I need you to do the death crawl. Get on your knuckles, and I need you to crawl through your knuckles. But you're going to do it blindfolded, and you're going to do it carrying somebody on your back. And as he's going, you know, he can't see where he's going. I think that's how it is, like with God. God tell us to do something, but he never give us the plan. Like when he told Abraham to go, he never told him the plan. He told Moses to go to Egypt. He never told him the whole plan because God knows us. He know if he tell us everything, he know we're going to be like, God. And how that's going to happen? And we'll be going, you know. So he's like on his knuckles in the video. And after a while or whatever, as he's doing it, I think he might be doing this actually. He's doing it as he's going. Eventually, he's like, he can't see, right? And he's just like, it hurts. And the guy like, keep going. He's literally in his ear like, keep going. And he's like, but it burns. He's like, but I can't do it. He's like, keep going. Just even though it hurts, keep going. Don't give up. Keep going. He's like, but it hurts so much. And he's like, keep going. I promise you can do it. And it literally was giving me chills. And I'm like, oh my God, like, God, I hear you. Like, to know that he was walking in a situation where he's blindfolded, he didn't even know his own strength because literally he has his teammate on his back as he's crawling and he wants to give up, and a guy in his ear and he's telling him not to give up no matter how hard it is. So by the time he gets to the other side of the goal, he's just like, he take off his his blindfold, and he said, listen, God has allowed you and called you to be a leader. Don't ruin it by your fear. You feel me? Or your circumstances or whatever you're going through. He said, listen, when you give up, he said, you give so much hope to people. When you give up, then everybody else give up. Even when you look at the story of the Bible, like God called one man to lead, whether it's David or Moses or all of one person obedience could bless a nation of people. You get what I mean? So when I had saw that, I said, I can't give up on my cinema. I can't give up on these kids because God wants to use me. And sometimes I'm like, God, pick somebody else. Listen, my stepmom just died. I'm going through enough. And God like, no, but because it's something in this that's going to make me better for him. You know, so I realized that even when it's hard, I have to do things in honor to God. And sometimes I don't always know how to do that. But then that's when I got to get on my face, or that's when I got to pray and say, God, keep me humble. Because when all of these things are happening for me, sometimes that that arrogance try to creep up. And I'm not an arrogant person, but it's the enemy and my overthinking. And sometimes I have to tell myself, God, keep me humble. Because, God, I want to make sure that I'm doing this. My heart is pure as it can be. Because I know the word says that our heart is evil, it's just wicked. So I always just trying to submit my heart to God and be like, God, help me, make me better, use me. In these last days, use me. I'm like, God, pick me, pick me. But I also know that when I'm saying that, the devil could hear my prayers too.
That's right.
So I also had to be mindful of what I'm doing. And but that touched me, and it made me realize that God was telling me, don't give up. He knows my load. And actually, the guy thought, when they found out the guy he was carrying, he was like, oh, you was carrying 140. And the guy was like, no, I'm actually 160. So he thought he was carrying, it was actually more. So he actually was stronger than what he knew. But if God don't allow us to put us in these situations, how do we honestly know who we called to be? So when we're in the storm, we don't understand, like, we want to get out of the storm. We like, God, too many people dying, God, bills is over, God, these kids is wilding out, all of this stuff is happening, and we don't realize that the storm is to strengthen us. And we don't realize that it's not happening just to us, it's happening for us, because it's to help somebody else, because we're all connected. And somebody's going to need to hear my story, how I was able to overcome by my brother being shot at 20-something times, and how I wanted to give up. You get what I mean? But I'm like, no, God, I'm going to stay focused. God, I'm going to stay sober. I'm going to keep him from being around wrong people, or stop the partying. And I'm going to get somewhere and get quiet and get in a quiet place so I can hear from you. When I decided to stop partying and drinking and really live my life for God, people said I was thinking that I was better. And no, I don't think that I'm better, but God has called me. So if I got to separate myself, and what God was separating me from people, it was relationships that I thought that these people would never leave me or forsake me. And people were separating themselves, and it hurted me. It hurt me to start living righteously and holy, because there were people in my life that I thought that would always be there.
But hold on, I have to say this.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you do understand what was happening there, right? God removed them.
I understand that now, yes. But when you're going through it, it hurts. It's like, God, but I was going through the wilderness. You get what I mean? But I realize now that it was always meant to strengthen me. And I'm just, like I said, I'm so grateful to God. I know that everybody's not going to go to church, but somebody's going to come watch this movie and going to learn about faith and know about, if they don't want to believe in God, which I hope they do, somebody will watch this movie and say, you know what, I want to go to counseling. Or, you know what, when I was a child, I grew up rough, and maybe my mom did this, or my dad wasn't there, but I want to be a better person for myself, and I want to be mentally healthy, and I want to be the best I can be, So I was actually telling my godson recently, like, we had a heart-to-heart, and I said, listen, whatever you feel like your mom and dad didn't do, make a better decision to be a better you, and you get healthy, you get counseling, you do better. You get what I mean? Like, don't allow yourself to further mess up your life because you felt like people hurt you. And then you go out in the world and then you hurt other people. No. Identify the triggers, identify the hurt, and go get the healing that you need. So me, I'm always in a constant at work of getting into that wholeness. I believe spiritually, when I accept God into my life, I believe I'm whole spiritually, but I'm still living in the flesh, which is still broken. So I'm constantly trying to get whole, in the flesh too. You get what I mean? But that's going to be a lifelong journey, because I have to submit this flesh to God. I have to die to myself every day, which is hard. Which sometimes I got to stand alone. I remember telling my dad the other day, I'm like, Dad, sometimes I just feel like I'm alone sometimes, because I'm trying to walk this walk. And it's easy for people to be like, oh yeah, praise God. But when God's saying, I need you to walk away from that relationship, I need you to walk away from that job where you're making all this money, I need you to stop drinking, I need you to be celibate. When God really, like, I need you to die to yourself, it get real, and people don't want to do it. As long as you could go to church and, oh, praise God, and, oh, I could still have my drink, or I can have my little bit of weed, and I can have people, we want to play with God. But when God, like, listen, no, I want all of you. And I feel like it's so beautiful, because God has a standard, and God has been teaching me, like, okay, Richard, you might waver on your standard, and you might let people walk all over you as far as not honoring your boundaries, but my standard, I'm not going to waive my standard. So it makes me be like, well, I don't need to waive on my standard either, you know, and I need to set boundaries. And I need to, my thing in 2020 is balance and boundaries, because I want to have balance in everything I do. And I also want to have boundaries so that way I can sustain whatever it is that God want to do in my life.
Wow. So I want to share a teacher story with you.
Mm-hmm.
So there are times where you're thinking you shouldn't be a teacher.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
felt like that.
a few years back, many years back, when we were doing some shows in our first studio, and we were on Facebook Live at the time, and people could type and text and talk to you while you're doing the show, and you would see it and you talk back.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm an artist. I went to art school in 1979, School of Visual Arts. I drove my father crazy because, like, Italian daughters don't do that and draw naked people. Well, yes, I did. Okay. So anyway, I'm doing a show, and somebody types, Geri, do you remember Mr. Gray? And I said, my art teacher from grammar school? He said, yes, I am. I said, you were my hero. It was because of him that I never stopped doing art. And it was because of him that I wanted to go to art school. I've never forgotten this man. He's now in my life, him and his son.
Wow.
Okay? And think about that. Okay, I'll be 62 years old. That was when I was, 12, 13? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for him to remember me as well, think about that. So we made an impact on each other's lives.
Yeah.
And he said to me, never stop doing your art. Never stop drawing.
Wow.
And I've never forgotten that. Because of him, I never did.
Wow.
So I'm telling you that for a reason. Okay? Now think about, again, I was 12, 13 years old, and this guy came back into my life at the time in my 50s.
Yeah.
All right? He was one of the biggest impacts I had on my life. Think about how you're impacting kids.
Wow. And I heard somebody say this, you know, being a teacher is not a job, it's a calling. And I think that I just wasn't,
That's right.
I wasn't ready. You know, I didn't think that I was ready for the calling, but I think that's when it's, and I want to get this as a t-shirt, faith over fear. You get what I mean? Faith over fear. Like, yeah, I want that. And I'm excited to be, I literally, where I work at, right down the street is a projects, and right further down the street, I literally like grew up in that house. So I was like, wow, God, this is a full circle moment. I'm literally servicing kids that who I were. Like, I grew up down the street from the same place in the inner city on the same street, and I'm able to be like maybe a beacon of light for some of these kids. And I teach my kids about self-love, and I tell my kids, like, listen, we be saying it, I am a leader. They be like, I am a leader and I am not a follower. You get what I mean? And I just want these things to be ingrained and embedded in these children, because sometimes I look at myself and I'll be like, wow, I wish that when I was young that we were taught more about loving yourself. Because if I could be candid, like, I didn't start really loving myself till maybe about 2 years ago, you know, until I was about maybe 32. I looked myself in the mirror and I'm like, listen, you got to start loving you, and you got to start taking care of yourself. Anybody out there, you have to start loving yourself. You have to start creating boundaries for yourself. And people that love you, they're going to respect your boundaries. And I got a chance to talk to somebody. I'm working on another project, and they were just telling me about the domestic violence. I would love for her to come on your show. And I want to see people, like I said, heal people, get out of those situations. If you're in toxic relationships, you know, where people are abusing you physically, abusing you emotionally, like, you got to get out of those situations. Because, and I know it's hard. You know, but that's when you got to be able to get on your knees and go to God. And you don't literally got to get on your knees, but just talk to God, get the help, reach out. And that's what I realized too. We got to open up our mouth. Like, not one person can do it all. You know, you got to open up your mouth. And if you need help, you need help. And I think so many people are afraid to open up their mouth and say, guess what? I need help. Maybe because of fear of rejection or judgment of others, but we all need help. Sometimes everybody fall on hard times, maybe not financially, but emotionally, or, you know, spiritually, or just mentally. And we all need each other. And I visit my cousin recently in jail, And I just told him, I was like, I'm going to tell you what I didn't tell my brother. I said, I need you. And we just looked at each other because that's not normal for two black young men to say that. And I said, I need you. And he just looked at me, shook his head. This is your guy in the streets. I said, I need you. I want to let you know that I love you. I care about you. And I had visited him because when I was reading in the Bible, it was just talking about God saying for certain people on that day, like, I never knew you. And I'm like, God, I don't want to be one of them people. And he was like, you never basically, I'm paraphrasing, y'all, because they'll be, I don't want nobody saying I'm a Pharisee. I'm paraphrasing where he talks about, when I was when I was homeless, you didn't feed me. When I was in jail, you didn't come see me. And, all of these different things. And I'm like, who in jail that I know? And I was like, my cousin. And when I walked in those doors first, it was traumatizing a little bit because I had went to, years prior, I had visited my brother, before he got killed years prior. So when I'm sitting in this jail cell, I'm looking like, wait, I feel good to see my cousin, but at the same time, I'm having this internal battle because I'm like, this was the last time I saw my brother in jail, so I'm like, and then I thought for a moment, 5 seconds of anger or just making a mistake, I could end up here. So it also made me realize how blessed I am. Like, God, thank you that I'm not here. Thank you that I'm on the other side of this. But I also was telling my cousin, like, listen, you ain't coming back here. And whatever I got to do to help you, like, I'm going to be there for you. You get what I mean? He's just looking at me. And I said, listen, my cousin who's in jail, his dad got murdered. His mom wasn't there. And I'm like, forgiveness. You ain't got to understand it to forgive. You don't got to understand it. You just got to do it. You get what I mean? Because people don't understand when you don't forgive, you allow people to take your power. And what I've realized is, as a person who struggled with forgiveness in the past, I was bitter, I was broken, I was hurt. I was everything that the series is about. But when I learned how to forgive, it freed me. And then God can use me. God can't use me if I'm out here having unforgiveness in my heart. And this is what I realized too. I told myself, if I'm out here and giving hope to everybody and talking about the series, and then I don't show love to my mother, then who am I? You get what I mean? Like, if I'm out here talking about hurt people, and all of these great things, but then I don't honor my father. God says honor my mother and father. He didn't say, well, if your mom wasn't there for you, your dad did this and X. He said honor your mother and father so your days would be longer. So at the end of the day, guess what? I got to honor my mom and my father, regardless of what I feel like they did or didn't do, because it's my relationship with God. I got to look at them through the lens of God, and that's hard. But it takes time to sit and get quiet and turn your phone off and cut off all distractions and sit there and be honest and open your heart and begin to open your mouth and say, God, I'm a mess. Can you help me? And I had to do that. So it's just like I said, I'm constantly doing work. I think I am so flawed, but I realized that, like I said, I want everything that the enemy stole from me, everything that he said that I was, and I believed in the enemy's lies because he's a liar and there's no truth in the devil. But God is honest, and God always loved me, but because of my perception of myself, but because of the environment I grew up in, the people I surrounded myself with, and how I grew up with my relationship with my mother and father, I thought God didn't love me because I was believing in a lie from the devil when he always loved me, So it's important for us to remind ourselves, what voices are you listening to? Are you listening to the voices on your own head? Are you listening to your friend's voice? Sometimes people that want the best for you don't always know what's best for you. You get what I mean? So that's why you got to be able to go to God. Sometimes people were telling me God gave me the best answers and the best intentions when I was making a decision whether I wanted to leave this job or not. Good answers, but they weren't godly answers. And for some people, when you suffer, people think, oh, that ain't God. God want me. You ain't read the story of Job? You ain't see all that stuff that he had to go through?
I have got to interrupt you. Okay, this was said to me recently. I was talking to someone about God. Okay, I would love to pray for you, ask for forgiveness, salvation, blah, 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 and this is what they said to me. Well, I'm having a really hard time with this God because look at what he lets happen. All these bad things happen to kids, to this, to that, right? All this. What people don't understand is this, and I say this all the time. If a child runs away from home, that parent can't help that child.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even know where the child is.
Right.
God has his hand here waiting for you. God will never impose himself on you. That's why he gave you free will. I never want to live without free will. So I thank God for that. You have to go to God in order for him to do what he has to do for you, right?
Right.
So he's never going to ever force you on him.
Right.
But when all bad things happen based on choices that people make, then they want to blame God.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying children, okay, that's a whole different subject matter here, but we don't know also maybe the parents were on drugs when the mother was pregnant, like whatever the case may be. But the point is, if you want God to be there for you, you have to go to him and ask him to, and he will.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
And I wanted to say this thing too, even about Job. When I think about the story of Job, when Job was going through all of the stuff he was going through, he didn't realize that if you, like I said, some people say is either you look at life as it being half glass full or half glass empty. I chose to look at life as it being half glass full. And when I look at the life of Job, maybe at that time when he was going through his suffering, he didn't realize that God was honoring him. He chose Job. You get what I mean? And when you look at the story of Job, Job didn't have the 10 Commandments. He didn't have a Bible. He didn't have all of these things that we have. So Job was special. And he didn't know that his life would literally help people thousands of years later. Like, my life is blessed by the story of Job. It took me so many years to read it, and I finally finished reading it. And I'm like, God, this is a lot, but when we're going through what we're going through, we don't realize that if we change our perspective, God, you ain't just doing this to me. You're actually honoring me, because you know that at the end of the day, I'm going to choose you in the end. And you're going to get the glory, and somebody's life will be preserved, and somebody will be able to look at what I've been through and know that it's possible. Because for some people, seeing is believing, and everybody doesn't have faith. So when somebody look at your life and see how you was able to come out of that, like, even sometimes, like, I sit back and be like, how? Like, how was I able to get through I think I might have told you this, but I forgive the people who murdered my brother. I forgive them. And I pray for them. Why? Because and if I could be honest, everybody that's watching, I wanted to hate the people who killed my brother. I wanted to hate these people so bad, but God would not allow me to. And I pray for the people who killed I pray for the person who killed my brother. I pray. And that's how I knew that wasn't a me thing, because I didn't want to do it. But that was a God thing. When you literally, this is my brother who I grew up with my whole life, who I just got married 2 weeks before he got murdered. And I was telling him but you know what grace does? What grace does was, after the hurt and the pain, because I'm still, going through it, but I was able to look back to the morning of, and I text my brother and basically told him everything that I wanted to tell him. And I told him that I loved him, and I told him that I wanted us to get closer. And then he got murdered that same day. And it made me realize that when God places somebody on your heart, reach out to them. And this is why I say I don't match energy, I lead with love. Sometimes God will place somebody in our heart for us to reach out to, and we don't do it because we like, they ain't reaching out to me. You get what I'm saying? Or whatever. But when God is telling you to do something, you got to do it.
Well, I love your good mornings. I love you every morning.
Yes.
I love them. You make my day.
Thank you. But I knew that was a process. But I'm so grateful. When I looked at the grace of God, I was so grateful that I was able to tell my brother that. Yep. I was grateful that when I came to the hospital and they said, we're going to pull the plug on you. They wanted us to pull the plug on my stepmom. And my brother said he wasn't going to do it. And we didn't even know 3 weeks after that, she came out of the coma. And I sat there and I talked to her, and I was actually home. And a lot of people don't know this. And my brother, I was like, let me come up there, because they were trying to get her in what is it called? I forgot the last thing when you go. What's it? Hospice. They're trying to get her to go to hospice, but she couldn't talk. She had a thing in her throat. So I wound up coming up there, and I looked at her. I didn't think I was gonna ever have that moment, and that was the grace of God. Because if we would have pulled the plug when they told us to, I would have never had that moment.
That's right.
And I told her, I said, listen, I want you to forgive my dad, because my dad and her was married and they separated, and that hurt her. I said, I need you to forgive my dad for the divorce. I said, I need you to forgive your dad for killing your mom. And I said, I need you to forgive me if anything that I ever did to hurt you, because I said, I don't want you, nothing to prohibit you from getting to heaven. So I said, I need you to ask God to forgive you and clean your heart. She could not speak. She had a trach in her throat. She looked at me. She closed her eyes and she turned her head, and it was just like God was showing up in that last moment. Yeah. And I really believe in my heart that she just gave her life to God in that moment. And before I left, she couldn't say the words, but she like said it out her mouth, like, I love you. Yeah. And that was it. Like, God, you didn't have to give me that, but that was grace.
That was grace.
That was grace.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
That was grace. So I was so grateful, and it doesn't mean that I don't hurt. It doesn't mean I don't miss her, because I do. I miss her every day, but God, I was able to look back on the grace and say, God, you gave me that moment. I would have, see, what happened was when she went to the hospital, I'm like, oh, she gonna come out, and then she slipped into the coma. So I thought I had time. Oh, I go tomorrow. But for God to give me that moment with her, and I always had that in my heart, that could have changed her whole eternal address. Because she could have left up out of here having unforgiveness in her heart. The word says that God won't forgive us if we don't forgive, each other. If we don't forgive, he ain't gonna forgive us. So I was grateful that I was able, God, to use me in that moment. So I believe now she in paradise.
Think about that moment, what it did not only for her eternity, but for you.
Yeah.
Okay? If that doesn't strengthen your faith, right?
Yeah.
Christopher, you have
Yes,
faith
ma'am.
in God? You're young. It's okay. Be honest.
No.
Okay. And that's okay, because God knows your heart. And hanging around with this guy, it'll happen. All right? So God knows your heart, okay, sweetheart? And we all have gone through that, including him, including me. We've all gone through that. But one day, and I give you my word on this, if you seek the truth, you're going to have faith. Something's going to change and happen. God's going to show you something incredible, like he did for him.
Yeah.
Okay, like he did for me. Just do this for me. One night, when you're alone, you're getting ready to go to sleep, whatever, say, all right, if you're really up there and you care, show me. It might not be that moment. It might not be that week, that month, that year. It's going to happen. Just be open to something happening. But when you hear a voice, listen to it. Okay, kiddo? And I give you my word. I promise you, God has not forgotten you. Okay? He's going to use you. He's going to show you something incredible. Yeah. Okay, sweetheart?
I believe that.
It's the truth.
I believe it. I believe it.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I ain't trying to wait till I grow up, but I make music. I make music now pretty frequently. I really, it's not just mainly music though. I want to like get all into the entertainment business. Like I want to do everything in music. Like I want to produce my own music. I already write my own music. I want to learn how to edit like videos and all of that. I do want to eventually work on some more stuff with the acting. Stuff
entertainment. Like you want to be in the entertainment field. Okay, so let me ask you something. You've written songs already?
Yes.
Okay, are they clean? All right, so I'll make a deal with you. Here's the deal. If you can write 3 clean songs, you come on as my guest, he can come in, and he will be a co-host. But you're going to sit in the big chair, boy. Okay. He'll sit over there as co-host. We will play those. You can do them live. They have to be clean.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you a story. The kid, I'm going to call him a kid at the time. The kid's name was Randy Shank from Trenton, New Jersey. He's now a father. He lives down south, has a family, and he is a videographer. He's a hip-hop artist, photographer, and he owns a piece of my heart as well. And I'll tell you his story, but every once in a while he'll send me a message. I'm trying to keep it clean for you, Geri. Okay? So he got in touch with me years ago. It had to be 2016. We were in our very first studio there, waiting for the new one to be built. And he got in touch with me on Facebook. Miss Geri, I want to be a hip-hop artist, and I write my own music and songs and blah, blah, blah. Please, could I come in? Could you interview me? I said, young man, can you keep it clean? He said, I promise I'll keep it clean. Okay. He came live in the studio with 2 or 3 other young hip-hop artists, okay? They were beautiful, and they kept it clean. But I asked him this. I said, why does there have to be so much profanity? Why does there have to be so much anger? And blah, 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 right? And this is what he said. He said, Miss Geri, everyone has a story to tell. And unfortunately for some of us, this is the only story we know. And I almost cried. I'm going to cry now. And I said, I won't listen to it, but at least now I get it. Now I understand. So I said to him, by putting your faith in God and changing everything around and going forward, right, like this young man's doing, your story is going to change. And once your story changes, you can rewrite your lyrics, right? So this project is for you. Write 3 hip-hop songs, all clean.
Okay.
And you could even, you could use the word ass in a nice way, okay? That's the only word. Like, I was a dumbass, but I want to be a smart ass. Something like that, okay? All right. You do that, and I promise you will be my star guest, and we'll make this happen.
You know what's funny? When you were reading your poem, I was hearing so many lines. I'm like, I'm gonna use one of those, and I'm gonna bring it back to her and see what she think about
There
it.
you go, kid. There you go.
Amazing.
You have my book, right?
Yeah.
But you have the first one,
The
right?
first one, yeah,
The
yeah,
first
yeah.
one, okay.
Yep.
This is my radio book.
Okay.
This is someone's book that I didn't give it to them. I autographed it. Oops. I have to mail it. Someone's book with me. All right, I can't give you that one.
It's okay. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I also want to just say something real quick. You guys, please, again, you can support the project Hurt People by going to cinkan.net. And you guys can also check it out on the CTF network and also YouTube. Please, you guys, go watch season 1 and 2 before this 3rd and final season come out. And I just want everybody to actually see it. The screening is actually going to be like a free event. I will be taking donations for people that wants to contribute. But I didn't want to sell tickets on this one only because I wanted people to get the message.
Yep.
And I didn't want people to feel like
Yep.
that they couldn't come because they couldn't afford it. So I want people to come out, and hopefully, like I said, people get be inspired, and I can be inspired, and people, we gonna cry, we gonna, we gonna do all of that, and we gonna be all right, and trust God still. So I'm really excited. I really, really am excited about this movie premiere, and then I'm also working on my book. You get what I mean? So I'm excited about that. I told you, that's actually called Trauma. Healed People, Heal People. So that shout out to Geri. Geri gave me that title, so I can't even take that credit. So when y'all see it coming out 2024, just know that's all Geri. So my book, I'm working on it now. I actually talked to the editors last night, and it was such a magical moment because I was talking to my videographer and editor for the film. He was sending me stuff, and then the lady for the editor was sending me stuff, and I'm like, wow, like I'm working on them back to back. Like it just felt so good. So the Trauma Healed People will be out 2024.
Oh my gosh, yes!
Yes. So I'm excited about that. Yes. So that title comes from Geri. So that'll be the last installment actually written of Hurt People. This series, I ended off with my book, Trauma Heal People. So hopefully after we go through all the hurt, we could get to some healing too in this last this book. So I'm excited about the book too.
I am more excited.
I gotta give you a shout out.
Yes,
Like, I gotta let people know that was Geri. I
Oh
can't
my gosh.
take no credit for the title.
Can't
That's
wait.
all you.
So, all right. So, guys, we're coming to the close of the show. We still have a few more minutes. I'm going to give each one of you a chance to say whatever it is you'd like to say. Reach out to whoever you want to reach out to. You start, young man.
Christopher, I do make music. I have a project out. It's not exactly produced the best, but I just released a song on Christmas, and I'm planning my next drop. Think about projects and whatnot. My stage name is BRISKK. You can find me on all platforms. I want to give a shout out to all of my family, of course, and Geri
I
for
love you.
allowing me on the show, and my cousin for bringing me here.
So wait, BRISKK?
Brisk
Brisk.
with 2 Ks, yeah.
I love that.
I like Briz.
Okay, okay, so you got to tell us why you
Where
came
it
up?
came from?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Chris. Brisk rhymes. I didn't come up with the name. I kind of just got tagged along with me when I was about like 8.
Okay.
I got an uncle. He got a friend. He just started calling me Lil Brisk, and then
I love that.
people started calling me that later, and I was like, okay, I'm Brisk then.
I love that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, okay, guess what I just remembered? I have 2 books in my car,
Yes.
and you're not going to believe this. I brought them in my house,
Mm-hmm.
and about 3 days ago, I said, I should leave these in my car in case, and I just realized they're in my car.
Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
guys?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
all right?
We
I
got him.
cannot believe that.
Yes,
Yes, thank you,
yes,
God.
yes,
That's a
yes.
God moment.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Amazing.
So now, what would you like to say to everybody out there?
Again, I would just like to tell anybody, and I say this often, I've been saying it a lot, please don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. I had did a live the other day, and I was talking about mental health and suicide, and everybody know, people were saying that, I forgot the TikToker name. What's his name? The one that passed away from suicide? From the Ellen show?
Oh, Twitch.
And and that's why I say, like, mental health is so serious, and
That's crazy.
we have to preserve our lives. And let me tell you, we all go through a trouble season, but one thing about the rain, it don't rain forever. The sun got to come out eventually. So sometimes when we're going through these challenging seasons in our life, and it gets hard and it gets dark, we want to give up. But please, anybody out there, please don't give up on you. Life will get better later. You get what I mean? Even when you can't see, just hold on. Hold on. And again, I'm always going to represent God, so I would say pray and go to him. This has been truly a blessing being here, and it's been a blessing to make this movie because of all the things that I went through. And I didn't know, honestly, if I was going to, at times I didn't know if I was going to do a 3rd season, a movie, because it was just it got too dark. And but I'm so grateful to be standing here. I come from, people in my family. My grandfather, died of a drug overdose. You get what I mean? And family members, alcoholics and, drug abusers. And so for me to be here, and still be pushing forward, I'm so grateful. And again, I love my family regardless of what they've done or what they've been through. This is not a shame moment. It's just a moment for me to realize, like, look where I came from and look where I'm going, and it's all because of God. So I'm really grateful that this movie means a lot to me, because only God means everything. It means a lot because I went through the storm. We actually started filming this movie 2019.
I think so.
2020, the pandemic happened, and then for now it to be coming out, it's coming out 2023. This took the quickest to make, but the longest to really do, which is crazy because it's the shortest one. But I went through real life making this, and it's dedicated to my brother, it's dedicated to my mother, it's dedicated to my grandfather, and it's dedicated to my grandmother Joyce, who I love and adore, all 4 of those people. So it's my goodbye letter to them, and to let them know that I will always carry them in my heart, but I still got work to do here, and it's not goodbye, but it's see you later.
So, Ruben, this is what we're going to do. I'm not going to play the theme song at the end. I'm going to read another poem at the end, okay? I want to thank both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so you now own a piece of my heart, young man, okay? You
Glad to have it.
absolutely do, okay? I still can't believe his age.
Yeah.
You are amazing. God is using you already, and you don't even know it.
Don't
Okay?
even know it.
You don't even know it. And listen, you Okay? You know I love you.
Yeah, I love you.
Okay? And don't stop sending me my I love yous, good mornings, little hearts, I don't care, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay? You make my morning. God is using you more than you even know. That story that you told, your loved one is in hospice. She's now in heaven. God uses certain people that he knows that person is going to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And I might be the person you're going to listen to one
Right,
day.
because they ain't listening to me.
Okay?
Oh, chill,
So-
chill.
So, God is so good, right? All right. I want to thank everybody out there listening. Listen, these two young men are golden. Share this video. Check them out. He's going to be writing some clean songs. He's going to be my star guest, okay? He's going to go far in life, okay? You guys are amazing. I want to thank you for honoring me today.
Oh, thank
I want to thank you
Okay.
for having me.
I love you, both of you. I want to close with these two small poems. One is called A Peace of Mind, and one is called Healthy Outlook, because I think that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay? I want to read the Healthy Outlook one first. A healthy outlook begins with you. A life fulfilled is up to you, too. A healthy diet is where you start, but a healthy mind is the major part. Your thoughts are wired to make you think, but what you do can make you sink. So keep all your thoughts uplifting and real. Feeding your mind crap will destroy the way you feel. Music is said to define who you are. The kind you're listening to really matters by far. Upbeat and positive are the notes you should hear. Nothing with violence or you'll live in fear. Music is a must for you to keep your joy, especially if it's Elvis and Chris now, because they're my boy.
Love it.
So now, I want to read A Peace of Mind, but I want to share something with you first. So, my father's family were all from Italy. Thank God for my father and his family. But my mother's family were not. My mother's family are all gone, including cousins. Every single one of them were either in jail, murderers, rapists, drug addicts. You have no idea. So I can relate to everything you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, I lived both worlds. And, you know, you have to make choices, right? You have to make choices. And do you want this side of the track or this side? It's up
Yeah.
to us. So, a peace of mind. From my heart to my mouth, these words I will shout. Women and men are just not the same. It's really unfair to play the same game. We think with our hearts, they think with their heads. You heard me right, in their minds and in beds. I don't let them hurt me, it's not their fault. A switch in their brains just comes to a halt. Because you were saying about women who were being abused. So that's what made me think about this as well. As we mature, we do learn what's right. We do have the power to now fight or flight. I'm only going to read bits and pieces of this. We have the choice, ladies, hear me. If we're not respected, set him free. I want to read little bits and pieces of it for everyone. Once we really know our worth, others' actions towards us won't hurt. Our
good.
hearts we wear for all to see. It intimidates them, but it sets us free. Okay? So, ladies, know this, you do have the power. Choose men and things wisely to water your flower. My heavenly Father and earthly one created me strong, not weak and undone. Life could be great, it's in our hands. Men and women unite in all the lands. Last but not least, men should tip their hat. Because women are stronger, I can tell you that. That's a joke. Guys, I love you both. You've truly honored me. I want to thank you, thank you, thank you.
One more thing.
Yes.
Just like Cuzzo was saying, if you're going through anything, you feel like it's raining, it's not gonna rain forever. Every hurricane must pass, and after the hurricane, after the rain, when that sun shines, flowers bloom. So just keep that in your head. Now, I'll let you finish.
I love that.
Yes. Find me on Facebook, you guys. Ricardo Richard, Ricardo, Richard. Also, again, follow me on Instagram. The same name, Ricardo Richard. Richard is spelled Richard on there, but it's Richard. Facebook and Instagram wouldn't let me be great with my dash. And again, YouTube, Bitter and Broken web series, CTF Network TV, and CINEKAN.net. Please check it out. Watch season 1 and 2. See, y'all gotta watch it while it's free. So, God take me to new levels. Y'all gonna have to be
That's
paying.
right.
So while it's free, y'all need to get it. Gotta get these hot cakes while they free now.
That's right.
For music is BRISKK on all platforms, but my Instagram specifically is Skiboybrisk. Is SKEEBOY.BRISKK.
Very cool. Thank you, boys.
Thank you so much, Derek.
Thank you.
All right, Ruben, we're done, baby. Thank you, guys.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Derek.